In the hills of East Tennessee, where ridgelines fold like old hymnals, there was a pasture. For 34 Junes, from 1968 to 2001, that field became a sanctuary where fiddles cut the night and banjos kept time with a community's heartbeat. They called it Slagle's Pasture Bluegrass Festival. You won't find glossy brochures or neat archives. Slagle's Pasture wasn't built for history books. It was built for people. Its story lives in voices under tarps in summer storms, in feet stomping grass flat before the stage, in singing under a quilt of stars. Intimate, homemade, stubbornly genuine. It began with one man looking across his field and deciding love of music was enough. Clayton Slagle wasn't a promoter chasing dollars. He was a fan with a pasture and an idea. He told his daughter, "Baby, I think I'm going to start having some bluegrass shows in the field." And then he did. The second weekend in June became a promise. Gates open, campers roll in, music carries until the mountains fall quiet again. This was family, to the core. Clayton booked bands, Virginia kept details humming, the kids mowed, sold tickets, parked cars, learned that hospitality is a verb. Folks arrived not as customers, but as guests. The pasture worked year-round, dances, rescue squad fundraisers, political rallies. The land became a gathering place, a town square without walls. Music gave it shape, people gave it life. Bluegrass in its living form pulled it together, old as the hills, still kicking. Legends stood on that stage. Bill Monroe and his bluegrass boys, Jim and Jesse, the Osborne Brothers, Jimmy Martin, Ralph Stanley and the Clinch Mountain Boys. Yet the pasture wasn't a museum for greatness already achieved. It was a crossroads where the future shook hands with the past. Young artists came through, Alison Krauss on the rise, McCoury high and sharp. In the crowd, a young Barry Bales sat in the rain just to hear McCoury play. He carried that moment into his career with Alison Krauss in Union Station. That's impact you don't put on a ledger, one spark lighting a lifetime. Even quiet experiments had room. Claire Lynch slipped a pop cover into her set, not to bend bluegrass out of shape, but to bend listeners toward it. At Slagle's, tradition and curiosity weren't enemies. They were neighbors, roots held, branches reached. That's how a living genre grows. Ask anyone who went. The atmosphere was plain good, down to earth, clean. No neon beer tents, no booming sponsor banners, a simple restaurant, tidy campsites, and the understanding that you belonged. Clayton knew people come in all stripes. The main grounds stayed family-friendly, no drinking near the stage or in the open camping area, but out back was a rise called Hippie Hill. If you wanted to cut loose, that's where you went. A simple, brilliant compromise. Protect the heart, let the edges breathe. That's how a festival lasts. Nights were the secret. After the stage lights cooled, the pasture bloomed with small jams. A mandolin ticked in one circle, a banjo rolled in another. Strangers traded breaks and smiles. The voice you heard on stage an hour earlier might be beside you in the grass. That closeness, audience and artist face to face, is the soul of bluegrass. Not everything lasts forever. In May 2001, Clayton Slagle passed away weeks before what became the final gathering. His steady hand had guided everything. Without him, the festival faded. His daughter Barbara said, "We miss it so bad. It makes me sad that we won't hear it again, never again." Grassroots traditions are strong because they're personal and fragile for the same reason. But the legacy remains. Pieces live in archives at East Tennessee State University. More live in the memories of fans who still miss those days. Much lives in the music carried forward by those inspired there, players who caught their spark in that field. Measure Slagle's pasture by modern metrics, attendance, revenue, branding, and you'll miss the point. Its success was steady work for regional musicians, young listeners who became pickers, a community hearing itself reflected in song. Cultural impact can be quiet and undeniable. Bluegrass endures because people tend it like a garden. Slagle's pasture tended it with patience and care. Tradition wasn't a fence. It was a front porch. Come sit, pick a while, learn what you can, leave something better than you found it. So what was that pasture? A gift. A field turned into a commons by a family who believed love of music was reason enough. Masters and newcomers met on equal footing. Tunes crossed generations like a handshake. The mountains held the sound and gave it back. Today, the field is quiet. No ticket booth, no hand-painted signs. Listen closely, and you can still hear it. A mandolin phrase drifting, a fiddle finding harmony, a bass thump steady as a heartbeat. Laughter past the tree line. The music stopped in 2001. The echo didn't. It still hums in the region, in band repertoires, in warm memories of Tennessee summer nights. Slagle's pasture proved something simple. You don't need arenas to make a monument. Sometimes a field will do, if the people are right and the music is honest. If you ever stood there, ankles itchy with grass, eyes light by the last glow of day, you know the truth. A pasture can become a cathedral. A community can build it anew every summer with strings, hands, and heart.